Hi, and welcome to another episode of The Worldly Ginger. With me, your host, Terran. I'll be touching on topics from hunting to politics and much, much more. This is The Worldly Ginger. Hey, and thanks for tuning into The Worldly Ginger podcast. I'm your host, Terran, and today I have a special guest with me. His name's Brad. Brad, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. Enjoying this holiday season.
So far, yeah. We're generally pretty laid back when it comes to the holidays. We don't do too much. We try and get together with family and friends.
Do you guys have anybody coming in town for the holidays?
I got my in-laws coming in.
In-laws are coming in?
Yeah. So that'll be fun. I'm blessed to have great in-laws.
Oh.
I enjoy spending time with. So it'll be fun to see them and spend some time with them.
Sweet. That was going to be my next question. Was it a blessed holiday to have your in-laws or not? But
it's a safe question to ask.
Awesome. All right. Well, do you guys have anything planned for them while they're here besides obviously celebrating Christmas with them?
So far, that's about it. My wife's going to try her hand on a turducken this year, so We'll see how that goes. Yeah, so my goal is food coma, I guess, which, judging by the spread that you've got out for me...
yeah, let's paint a picture of that.
You're definitely aware that I'm an eater.
You're a foodie? Yeah.
I'm an eater. A foodie implies that I'm in some way discriminative towards what I eat. Really, whatever's around, I'll just eat it. We got some brownies here. Of the delicious kind, but not magical. We got some Sour Patch Kids because one of us is an addict. We'll figure out which one coming up. And then barbecue chips, which I've been making short work of the time that I've been here.
Yeah, the bowl, I pretty much just filled it, and it's about like a quarter left in the bowl.
I'm gonna say there's about a third left of what was in there.
He's being modest.
I am. Yeah.
No,
it's trying to save face.
No, there's a good spread here. Brad's here today to talk about his recent trip to Peru. So let's turn our attention and let's talk about South America, because I think it's pretty neat. I know you just traveled down to Peru and did some pretty awesome hiking and some epic scenery. Sorry, you were looking behind me there, so you were tripping me out. I thought there was a ghost.
Not that I can see. So I can't deny.
Touché. Okay, that's fair.
Or subsequently confirmed.
Or so, yeah. Why don't you tell me kind of when you went down? What time of the year was that?
So we went down over real Thanksgiving, which is Canadian Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Thanksgiving 1, we can call it, because it happens first in the year. Also the one where we're actually thankful, not like in the States where Thanksgiving is like murdering your sisters, but you can get her the toy that she's got at Best Buy for Black Friday. Why Best Buy? Toys R Us? No, they're shut down too. Where do you buy toys in the States now? Walmart. You kill your sister
Target.
at Walmart.
Target.
Because
we don't have
that Target. You end up killing your sister for a toy.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta say, I tried the Black Friday one time. I actually bought the TV that's in the living room here now on a Black Friday, and I thought it was gonna be crazy. So I got up at like 5:45 in the morning, and I went to Best Buy, and I got up there, and it was just opening, and there was nobody.
Yeah, we're very polite here in Canada. I've worked retail for 15 years, and we're very nice.
I would
very, very nice. You get the occasional person that's very upset, but I will say the funniest thing about Black Friday and Boxing Day and those big sales,
right?
Every single time, without fail, the very first person in line is there for something ridiculous.
Like, give me an example.
Like a spindle of DVDs that are half price, so they're $20 instead of $40. And this person camped out for 6 hours to make sure that they got that one spindle. They didn't even buy 6, like they buy 1, or they come in for like half price socks.
Okay.
And everybody loves half price socks.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But the monetary value, like I'd rather sleep in, have a good day, and spend $4 more on socks, because I spend $8 on socks.
Speaking of socks, let's talk about socks. What? How do you segment into socks?
Yeah.
Well, I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
Socks. I think socks are probably pretty important when you're talking about hiking.
They are, especially for Saxy women. It's actually Saxy women, but it is a place in Peru. So
okay, so well,
kind of got there.
See, we got back on track. Everyone thought, oh man, they're gone again.
We did. We went down that rabbit trail about socks.
But you said socks, and I know about socks.
Yeah.
Peru.
I also wear socks.
You're wearing socks in my house right now?
I am.
In the podcast lounge?
Mine are the finest socks they sell at Mark's Work Warehouse.
Oh.
Which is...
So if you're listening and you want to maybe let us get sponsored by you, by all means, Mark's Work Warehouse.
Then I will not say what I was about to say.
Oh.
So moving on. About socks. I will say that having really good socks is super important. We did a lot of hiking to prepare. We did the 5-day classic hike in Peru to get to Machu Picchu.
Okay.
Through Salcante trekking, which I'll talk more about in a second. But yeah, we did a lot of prep here, and my cardio was fine, my muscles were fine, my endurance was fine, but I was always getting blisters, and I tried 3 different types of boots. And
right. You had the hot spots all the time.
Hot spots. It was to the point where I brought nursing tape.
Absolutely.
And just taped myself. That was the only thing I could do. And before I left, a colleague of mine who does a lot of hiking, he's actually prepping to do Denali. Right
oh, okay. Wow.
Like hardcore.
Yeah. Wow. That's not
like.
Yeah. Denali is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called Denali for a reason.
Yeah. it's the Denali of mountains.
Yeah. Yeah. To get all the way. It's in Alaska.
It's
up in the northwest, I think, of Alaska, but it is the biggest mountain chain in North America.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
And he's going to just hike it?
20,000 feet. It's crazy. It's something ridiculous.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
I think...
Bananas.
Yeah, it's the Gwen Stefani of mountains.
But yeah,
That's what they call it. That's the street name.
That's crazy. And I know.
So I talked to him about these blisters I kept getting, and he recommended merino wool socks, and I went to Icebreaker because that was in the mall,
right?
So I just went there, and they had a great deal, and I bought several pairs, and I don't even need tape anymore. It's that big of a deal.
Really? I've been into that store a couple times, and I've looked around, and yes, it's a little bit pricey. Mm-hmm. It's on the pricier side, but I agreed with you when you're doing something like that and you're taking on that kind of a challenge. I don't think price should be sacrificed for quality.
And and they also come with a lifetime warranty, so if they stretch or break.
Oh wow!
Then that's
you just send them in and they give you a new one.
And I thought when I was in the store, and I asked them so does this is everything here a lifetime warranty? Because that would make this the next store that I shop all the time.
Right, absolutely.
Even if it's $300 for a shirt, maybe not $300, but if it's
but that's a one-time $300 investment
fee, unless I lose it somewhere, which doesn't happen as often anymore.
Right.
I would shop there all the time, but she's like, no, just 1 year on everything but the socks.
Oh.
But I'm still gonna go there because lifetime supply of socks.
Absolutely.
And
now that you've told me that, I'm gonna go there because I've been looking
Icebreaker. It's at Chinook Center.
Absolutely, Chinook Center. Yeah.
Yeah, for the merino wool socks.
I would definitely recommend getting a pair of merino wool socks. I know, as a soldier, as a veteran, I've walked quite a few miles in my boots for those Americans and quite a few kilometers for us Canadians up here. For the rest of the world.
As it turns out, more kilometers than miles. That's just how we roll.
Yeah, absolutely. I probably would say I'm on the abnormal side of how many kilometers I've walked amongst the average individual. So I would say for sure socks, in my opinion.
You're that person ruining the bell curve.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just screwing it up for everyone.
Yeah.
So I would definitely agree with you that socks are probably one of the most important things that people don't really take into consideration when they're thinking about prepping for a hike. How important that one small insignificant, well, it's not insignificant, but to the layman's person that's not a hiker, a sock is a sock.
Yeah.
But it's not.
And another thing that I should have looked more into is hiking underwear.
Right.
And I don't want to get too graphic in this, but doing a trek like this, there's hygiene. You do the best you can.
Yep.
Usually it's you got some baby wipes. The trek that we did, you could get to plumbing for about half of the days, so you could still clean up if you'd like.
Okay.
For a marginal fee.
Now, are we talking plumbing? Are we talking a wash basin bath?
You get full showers.
Oh, you got showers.
One of them, it was some weird electric shower.
Right.
But they were wires visible.
Okay.
So definitely not to coat. Maybe to coat in Peru. I don't know.
Okay.
It was fine. It was warm, and I needed a shower. It just took me a really long time, and
Right.
I thought I might die.
Okay.
So probably the most exhilarating shower of my life.
Electrifying?
Luckily, no.
No. Okay.
But I was definitely on edge
It was-
for all of it. Like, I was very energized when I got out.
Okay. You were surging.
Yeah. So you're doing this trek, and the hygiene is something that you do the best you can with, and then you've got this pack on.
Right. Absolutely. I get that.
And I would imagine
I've
hiked once or twice with a pack on.
Yeah.
And when you hike in hot temperatures, you sweat, and when you sweat on your back, especially when there's a backpack there, long and short of it, it goes down your butt.
Yep.
And you end up with, if you're not, because it's hours, right, from start to finish, you might get diaper rash just because of how wet it is down there.
Absolutely.
And so I just wear my regular underwear that
Right.
is generally great. Like, I
Yep.
have no complaints. I obviously didn't think twice about needing something special.
Right.
Was definitely not cutting it on the side of a mountain in Peru. So very uncomfortable.
What happened?
I just got a really sweaty bum.
So that's it. You just toughed it out like that.
Toughed it out. Nobody really thought to bring talcum powder.
I was just gonna tell you because like as a vet for sure, or as an army dude, I've used baby powder multiple times to like just douse myself in because
Yeah.
when you're hiking, like you said, or rucking it or whatever you're doing, your sweat is going down your legs and all over the place, and it's uncomfortable, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna get chafing, and you're gonna get, we call it swass, right? Sweaty ass.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a real thing, but yeah, we used a lot of baby powder, or like you said, performance underwear like Sax. Sax is a good one, or Lululemon. I wear a lot of Lululemon because it's just great performance underwear. It holds really well, and it wicks really well too.
So I wish I'd asked you before, since you're like, yeah, of course, bring baby powder.
And we had this conversation when we were in Banff, so I feel like your wife was trying to tell me secretly that, you had an issue when you were in Peru.
I did.
Well, we were talking about this in Banff last weekend, and she wanted you to get some new underwear.
Yeah, not that she's unhappy with my underwear.
But she doesn't want what happened in Peru to happen to you again. So I totally get it.
And I've already committed that the next time we go to Peru, I'll get new underwear.
That's awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the fitness aspect of it.
Okay.
You obviously needed to get some. You need to prep for this, so you did the hiking. You obviously did some hikes in Alberta.
Yeah, we did. We did a handful around the area. My wife took care of planning most of that.
Right.
So a lot of it is I got off work and I'd get home and she'd hand me a backpack and say, we're going for a hike. And then that was it.
And
so I drove, and I don't know the names of the ones that I went to.
right.
The only one that I remember is the Lake Louise Tea House hike,
Okay.
which was an amazing hike.
How long was that?
I think we did it in about 6 hours, but that was also stopping with the tea houses, having a tea, having some biscuits.
Right.
Which, after doing 15 kilometers of hiking, 14 kilometers of hiking, sitting down and having a nice hot tea and a biscuit, kilometers away from the nearest road.
Right. Absolutely.
Is amazing.
It was pretty isolated.
Yeah, but outside of just getting out there and doing more hikes, running on the treadmill, really watching our diet, just to make sure that we were not consuming things that we shouldn't.
Right. So eating pretty healthy,
Yeah.
pretty clean, I should say.
Yeah, we went vegetarian for a while. I'm not saying vegan because I have a leather belt and somebody yelled at me for it once. So, but
Fair enough.
But really, like, no dairy, no animal byproduct. Like, really just cut everything out.
Right.
Which for me was tough because I just love cheese.
Oh yeah, I
I
bet.
just love it. Like, you saw how I stared at that cream cheese earlier.
Yeah, you've dug into it before. It was he? Just so you know, I bought this cream cheese last probably a couple days ago, jalapeno cream cheese, and I've been waiting to eat it. And Brad came over, and he saw that, and that was it.
Put some of that on some bread. Forget about it. Forget about it.
Forget about
It's
it.
so great. we are flexitarians now, which is a term that I'm actually very uncomfortable with. Flexitarians. It's where you're vegetarian as often as you possibly can, but like if you're out, you can still eat.
Okay.
You're basically just a human.
Right.
Who's eating a normal human diet. A human diet doesn't consist of meat every day. It didn't hundreds and thousands of years ago.
Right.
It doesn't today.
No, you don't eat. Yeah.
So it's weird that I need to describe my diet as something special.
Yeah.
Because it's just how it should be.
Right.
As we wait for the meatloaf.
Yeah. Yeah. As the meatloaf is cooking.
The meatloaf.
Mom, the meatloaf. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so
ate super well. We didn't drink, so we cut out alcohol pretty much entirely.
Right.
We're just focused on being healthy
And how many times a week were you guys hiking?
At least twice, if we could.
Twice a week, and
I completely cut out elevators in my daily life. Elevators or escalators. I strictly took stairs.
Okay. And how long were these hikes weekly?
Never too long, like 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour.
These were these mountain hikes, or like I'm just trying to get like were you doing
mountain hikes to foothill depends on like what time of day. So like if I got off at 5, we could zip out, but if I got off at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock, we could go.
Okay.
A bit further.
Okay, so nothing too crazy. So moderate hikes twice a week.
Yeah, and just making sure that we were getting used to doing that, or having a pack that was that heavy. Like I remember even just putting like water bottles in my pack just to make sure that it was full and heavy, so that when I could practice hiking here, I had that. Yeah.
Let's talk about hiking shoes or hiking boots.
Mm-hmm.
Was there like a trial period where you tried 2-3 pairs of, or was it like you found the one set and that was it, you just used those?
I tried several different types. The first few hikes I just went in my running shoes, which is a terrible idea. Don't hike in running shoes, because you can just feel all the rocks and you don't realize it. Like you think it's just normal until you get proper hiking boots, and then you realize, oh, it doesn't have to hurt my feet to be out here on these rocks. So then we went to MEC, Mountain Equipment Co-op.
Okay.
Where I bought some boots there, gave them a shot, and they just didn't work. I had a blister within like a kilometer.
Wow, okay.
And that was even after trying them on. So I went back and just looked at things a little bit differently, and I got another set. La Sportiva shoes, hiking boots. They really made a huge difference. I was able to hike further. Still had some hot spots, but the comfort that they provided.
Right.
We did 110 kilometers over 5 days, which I know isn't probably much to you.
No, that's a lot.
But that was we started at 3,900 meters.
Yeah.
Went up to 4,600 meters, and then hiked down to 2,000 meters.
Right.
But still, like, ups and downs. You can't see it, but like it was all wavy.
You have to be pretty good shape to do it.
This trek, not as much. It wasn't bad. I would say everybody in our group was very fair to midland in shape. We had some people from Europe, like Austria and the Netherlands, that were very in shape. You know how those Europeans are. They're always biking places and drinking wine. Fabulous.
Sounds like Calgary.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's fair. So they were great. We had a couple people from the United States as well. Everyone wasn't in good enough shape. The one guy said he runs 100 miles a week,
wow.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, that's like rhabdomyosis area there.
Yeah.
That's danger.
I don't know what it is about people who do a lot of endurance running, but they all have like weird scabs all over themselves, and it's really disgusting. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, let's talk a little bit more then about the actual getting to Machu Picchu. Like, what was the actual process getting there? Like, how did you find your guides? And
so we got our guides online. We got a recommendation through my wife's work friends.
Yeah, I think I know the same couple. Yeah.
Yeah, they had done the trek a year prior,
right?
And they said they had a great time.
Okay.
So we just went to the website, booked it. I think our promotion was $460 US. It was for the 5-day trek.
And what was the website you said?
Salkentetrekking.com.
Okay.
Is the website. It was $460. That was our poles, our sleeping bags, our accommodation, our food, our entrance into Machu Picchu, our return trip to Cusco, We felt it was a phenomenal deal. Some people felt like it was expensive. I guess for the area, it's one of the more expensive trips.
Right.
Next to the National Geographic one that's thousands. And I would say what we got in spades, that's not racist, is it?
Spades?
If we say we got something in spades?
I don't know. And,
I don't want to be unintentionally offensive. If I'm going to offend somebody that's listening, I want to do it on purpose. If what I said was offensive, I do apologize. Please tell us, and I will stop saying that phrase. Because it doesn't sound like it's a good thing to say.
I don't think it's, I think it's something that depends on the actual intention.
We need a third party for these podcasts so that they can fact check us while we're talking. Because a lot of what I say is probably false.
Right.
Anyways, what we had a lot of, an excess of, in our trek was great guides. We had, their names were Simba and Johan. Simba was amazing. The first time I met him was at the debriefing the day before. I initially thought I would not like him at all.
Right.
Because of the way that he talked.
Whoa.
The way that he talked...
Elaborate on that,
muttered a little bit. Said the word muchachos a lot. Senores, mixed English back and forth. And not there's anything wrong with that, just the way that he spoke, like the verbiage that he chose.
Right.
Just didn't really sit well with me. But I would say by halfway through the first day, I loved it. I realized that's who he was. It wasn't a persona he was putting on.
He was a muchachos.
He was a muchacho, and that was it. And throughout the trek, we talked about him and his experience with ayahuasca, and one of the guys in our group had just recently done an ayahuasca journey trip.
Wow.
I don't know what the proper verbiage is for that, but
right.
But that was great, and he was really excited about it and what he'd done. But we learned more about Simba just as a person and realized he was just a fun, interesting person.
Right.
To the point where we called ourselves the muchachos. So if our group ever got split up, one of us would just yell, muchacho.
Nice. Okay, that's
even
cool.
our Christmas cards this year, my wife and I, it says, Merry Christmas, muchachos. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a cool story. I like that. That's a pretty cool story.
So yeah, we found it online through a friend's recommendation, and we really lucked out and had wonderful guides.
Cool. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the food while you were there. So I know obviously their standards aren't Canadian standards, so you obviously had to have some sort of food while you were on this trek. So what kind of food did they have for you guys there, and your opinion on it?
The food was really good. Like most things in that area, can be very heavy on dairy.
Right.
And
it was all local food?
Always local. We never ate anything. As Simba once said to somebody who was eating a Pringle and offered him one, he said, I don't eat that shit. It's all very very local. Even in Cusco, when we did eat...
He sounds pretty badass, by the way.
Oh, he was unbelievable. I cannot stress how great this guy was.
That's awesome.
He really made it. He said in the time that he's been doing it, about 14 years, he'd never had anybody turn back.
Wow.
Which is a big deal, because there were some people that wanted to. And he would sit down with them and just pat them on the back and say, look, we're here. This is your vacation. We're here for you.
Well, wow. That's
wonderful,
that's good.
Wonderful, wonderful man.
That's important.
And Johan, you were great too.
Yeah.
He knew a lot about birds.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
He did. Yeah, he was the bird guy.
The bird guy.
And not in a weird way.
No.
I don't know if there's a good way
to
be a bird guy.
Is there really a good way to be a bird guy, or a weird way to be a bird guy?
He wasn't forceful with that information.
Okay.
Yeah, like Simba would have to pull that out of him.
Right.
He didn't just walk up to you and say, that's this bird, but in a more Spanish accent.
You gotta work on your Spanish accent. Then.
Yeah. Every time I use an accent, it just comes out Australian in the end.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's like...
I always end it with mate. It's just...
That's like Paul Rudd in I Love You, Man. And he always tries to do his Irish accent. Always sounds Jamaican.
I Love You, Man. Great movie about a great band. Rush.
That's true.
Yeah.
For those of you listening right now, if you don't know this, which you wouldn't know because we haven't told you yet, Brad is a huge Rush fan.
I am, yeah.
So, if you haven't... if you have one reason why you should start listening to this podcast, is because you now know that one of us is a Rush fan, and if you're a Rush fan, then
And the other one just isn't a Rush fan yet.
yes, I just
never
haven't
too late.
declared it yet. That's all. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so
That fell off the wheels, so I don't know where we're going next.
well, we were talking about food and just
Sorry.
we're
The food was great, and even in Cusco, everything that we had was delicious. We had alpaca, which really just tastes like beef.
yeah.
We tried to find guinea pig while we were there, but most places we went to, it was
Really, was
already
that
sold
that
out.
was a big thing?
That's
Guinea pig.
a local delicacy.
Okay.
So we never ended up having it, but people said that it's kind of meh, really fatty.
Okay.
Some people say they only really have it on like holidays. The one thing that I will say is I was expecting it to be spicier. I do like myself some spicy foods.
Yes, you absolutely
And,
do. I know that for sure.
You do know that.
I have been to your house, and I would definitely say shout out to his wife about this, because she had, when I came over to the house, they had made fresh salsa, and we had mild salsa and then spicy salsa, and the spicy salsa was so good.
So
If
good.
you're not a spice fan, it didn't matter, because the amount of sweetness that your wife put in it. Was it you that made it, or was it her?
It was 100% her.
Okay.
I'm the second half of the salsa.
So that was like, I had that and that was it. I couldn't stop eating it. So yeah, I definitely know you like your spice, and
I do.
you guys do it right.
And while the food there was good, it wasn't as spicy as I was looking for.
Right.
The one thing that I will say, I'm not a fan of cilantro at all. I love it in Indian food. Don't really care for it, or don't like it at all in Mexican food. Or Spanish food.
I feel
Hispanic
you on
food.
that. Hispanic food, yeah.
But for whatever reason on this trek, we were expelling 5, 6, 7,000 calories a day, depending on what you were doing while you're doing this hike. There's no way you're able to bring all that in, right?
Yeah.
So you're on a deficit, and all this food had cilantro in it. All of it. And I remember day 2, lunch, we'd summited Salcante, and we were coming back down. We'd gone about 13, 14 kilometers, and up 700 meters, down 900 meters at this point.
Right.
And they brought out a soup that was basically a cilantro soup.
Oh.
Yeah.
So just
and like
soap.
dirty soap water. Like, I think that's what happened is the chef ran out of ingredients.
That is
and then just took
disgusting.
some dish soap and mixed it with dirt from the floor. I took one sniff of it, knew there was cilantro, and in that moment, I loved it.
Really?
Every part of it, it didn't taste like dirt or garbage. I knew it was cilantro, and I knew I normally didn't like it, but I just needed the nutrients.
You were just so
much
hungry.
that my body said, "Forget it,
It's
just eat."
survival mode.
And the rest of the dishes, I actually enjoyed cilantro, and I haven't tested myself since to see if I like it now,
Interesting.
because I still don't want to. I kind of proud myself on being
Right.
someone who doesn't like cilantro, but I like olives now, so who knows?
You know what? That's a funny but interesting fact at the same time. Is your body sometimes will like push past what it normally doesn't want when it really needs what it wants.
Yeah,
And like it doesn't think about taste. It's just
we just need it.
we just need it, and who cares? And now you probably like cilantro now.
Probably, yeah.
Because of that actual one moment.
But yeah, I can't complain about the food at all. It was delicious.
Yeah.
We loved all of our meals.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the actual like getting to Machu Picchu, and like talk about that first feeling, like seeing it, or like how did it happen?
So the first time you see it is actually on day 4.
Okay, so this is 4 days into the hike.
4 days into the hike.
How far is that?
At that point, the first day is about 14, 15 kilometers. The second day is 25, 26 kilometers. The third day is another 15 to 16 kilometers.
So we're about 60 kilometers in.
And then you're about 10 kilometers in on the fourth day. So you see it for the first time. And you see it from like the other side of a
gorge,
yeah, I guess, valley. And you can see it from there. It's a former lookout, but it was amazing just seeing the building that was there. The architecture is great. You get some great photos. I've got one where the aqueducts in there.
Right.
Maybe they're not aqueducts, but they're ruts in the floor. What else are they gonna be?
Irrigation ditches.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. that just like run through the valley?
In this case, it's just in
Or not through the valley,
or
but
whatever it is.
right.
There just aren't any words the first time you see it. It's far away, but you can see the amount of work that went into it and how far up and how far down it goes.
Right. What about the actual the getting to Machu Picchu itself? Like, what was that like?
Getting to Machu Picchu, so once you, it's on the top of a mountain. It's something that unless you know where to find the stairs to get up there, you would never find it.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why they made it where they did.
Right.
Is there were only 3 ways in.
Okay.
One was through the Sun Gate, which we hiked to. One was through a bridge, which they could just chop and that would disappear. And the other one was by climbing 400 meters straight up on stairs.
Okay. Well,
So fairly defensible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you got there, you had the option of taking the stairs up or paying $20 to take a bus. We took the bus because at that point we were done and we just wanted to see it. And everybody that did the hike said that they regretted it because once you get in there, there's still so much more hiking to do.
Right.
So Machu Picchu, interestingly enough, just means big mountain.
Okay.
And Huayna Picchu, which is next to it, means smaller mountain or small mountain.
Right.
Because nobody knows what these mountains are actually called.
Oh.
So earlier we were talking about the benefits of traveling and learning what you don't know.
Right.
And I realized how wildly ignorant I am about South American history and culture because I didn't realize that it's not Machu Picchu. Nobody knows what it's called. Nobody really even knows what Machu Picchu was for, like that city.
Right.
Because when the Spanish attacked, everyone vanished and the city fell off the face of the earth for hundreds of years.
Wow.
And by the time it was found, it had been looted.
Right.
Most things were gone.
Are there remains and stuff there of people, or?
There were some, and they've moved some of them, but there's no documentation. It was a spoken history. So nobody knows why it was there, or what it was doing, or the name of the mountain, or the name of the city.
Do you know how high up it is?
I think it was like 2,400 meters. Like it wasn't...
Yeah, 2,400, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually below Cusco. Cusco sits at 3,300 meters. So you start off much, much higher than you finish, which is interesting. So you got there and you had an idea of what was out there, and sometimes the sun would come through the clouds and show a little bit, or you'd see a shadow from a mountain.
And it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site,
It
too.
is, yeah. I also learned that it wasn't the Inca people, it was the Quechas people. Inca was their word for king or ruler.
Oh,
Quechas
okay.
was the people, and for my entire life I thought it was the Inca people. It'd be like us calling the Egyptians the Pharaoh people.
Right. Yeah, okay.
And I had no idea, so I'm sorry for being ignorant.
Hey, I guess I apologize as well then, because now I'm enlightened to the ways. Do you have any advice for somebody that would be maybe traveling to Peru that you didn't necessarily have beforehand, that you wish you had known before you went?
More people take a visa than you would think, so you'd be comfortable or you'd be able to travel using more digital than actual cash, so you don't need to bring that much. Luckily, we were able to sell some off to my in-laws because they stuck around a little bit longer, but we had a lot of excess physical cash.
Okay.
In the local currency, which is specific to Peru.
Right.
So you could do more digital than you would think. Leave time afterwards to go hiking. We gave 4 days before to make sure that we acclimated properly.
Right.
And they recommend that you don't do any big hikes just in case you do have altitude sickness. So when we finished the trek, we left to come home the next day.
Yeah.
I would recommend give yourself 3 or 4 days in the back end as well, so that you can kind of see everything else. That now that you've had a more informed journey on the way to Machu Picchu, you'll appreciate things more.
Right. What about poverty? What was like?
We didn't see a lot of poverty. I guess if we're talking financially or.
I guess I would say like visually, like did you see poverty?
Not really. There was
like I know I see poverty in like Southeast Asia when I'm there.
Yeah, and there was some signs of it, but not too much. We didn't really go into like downtown Cusco. We didn't go into Lima. Lima's very, very unsafe.
Okay.
For
tourists.
for
tourists. Yeah, I've heard some bad stuff.
According to tourist tourist companies, not according to me. I don't know if anybody from Lima thinks I'm a jerk.
Yeah.
We didn't do anything in Lima, but there was a lot of warnings for that.
Right.
Cusco is more touristy, so it's not like it's their Banff, but sort of.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Right. That's
It's kind of like their Calgary, I guess. Like it's close to
the
major
mountain,
tourist destination that everybody wants to go to.
right.
Cusco's in the mountains.
Oh, it is
Still
in the
pretty
mountains.
high up.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I heard that there's dicks everywhere in Peru.
Literally everywhere, and I don't mean that in the figurative sense. I mean quite literally everywhere you go. There's penises, little statues with
Wooden penises or like cement penises or like
anything you can think. Glass blown penises. Like it's statues of a little person, and I don't mean that in the
a derogatory manner. Yeah.
Or just a small human being.
Okay.
Holding a giant penis.
So, like, did you ask anybody in the local people about this and like about their culture?
I did, and maybe they just didn't want to tell me. But I feel like the answer was, we think it's funny.
So you really just think that they have dicks everywhere in Peru just because it's a hilarious thing
Dicks
to do?
are kind of funny. Like, imagine that you met somebody who had a dick that was 3 times bigger than their body and was constantly erect.
That would be so awkward to walk around with.
Yeah. Isn't that hilarious?
Where do you come up with this?
Travel.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good way to end our podcast episode here today about Peru. I'd like to thank my buddy Brad for coming out and sharing a bit about Peru. And
Thanks for having me. I had fun.
We learned a little bit about dicks today. And I'd like to thank the people listening. Thanks for coming and stopping by. And, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my podcast. And if you haven't already, head over to my website, theworldlyginger.com. And again, if you like this podcast, feel free to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. You can find me on Apple as well as Google Play. And if you don't have access to those, you can also just find me on my website at theworldlyginger.com. If you have Twitter, you can also find me on Twitter as well. And Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, season's greetings, whatever makes you happy and doesn't offend you, that.
That, exactly. Stay classy.